everyone. Welcome to video 4 of the James Range Bag by American Stitchers. Videos 1, 2, and 3 have gotten us to this point so far. We have our zipper in, we have our bag constructed, our linings in, all of our pockets are in, and today we're going to put the finishing touches on the bag. Now before we start, I want to mention a couple things. If you want to put feet on the bag, you need to do that before you close up the lining of the bag. I was not originally going to put feet in, and I changed my mind. So I want to show you how I did this. I measured 2 inches over from a short edge. Then I measured 2 inches down on that line and 2 inches up on that line, and that's where these 2 feet went. Same thing with these 2. I left my markings on there. I hope you can see those. And then I just put 1 in the middle because it is such a large bag. So if you want to put feet in, go ahead and put them in. Once you're happy with everything, your feet are in, your stabilizer is in, which should go in before your feet, you're happy with all your edges and seams, then go ahead and close up your lining. Okay? So once all that's done, we will get going on this thing and finish it up today. Okay, in our next step, this is what we're going to do. We're going to put this tab right here on so that we can connect this part down to our strap adjuster that we put on earlier. I went ahead and did one because I wanted to just kind of see what kind of tips and tricks and things I could give you to help us get this on fairly seamlessly. So the first thing you're going to do is you should have 2 pattern pieces that look like this. Okay. My leather, my faux leather that I'm using is white on the back. So I actually just put edge coat all over it, all over the sides and all over the back. I would suggest that if you have something that is a different color on the back, you probably want to go ahead and do that. It's just going to help because you are going to see some of the edges and all here. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. Okay. Then you're going to take one of your 1-inch swivel hooks and you're going to just slide, just kind of fold it in half, and you're going to slide it on. So this is what you have from the right side and from the wrong side. We're going to put a couple of pieces of double-sided tape on here so that when we go to stick it to the bag, it'll stay. So I'm just going to take a couple little slivers here and just go ahead and stick it on the wrong side, on the large section down here. Just like that, okay? So now this is what we have. Okay, before we proceed with this, you want to take your bag and we want to zip up the zipper some. And we want to kind of flatten this out. So you may have to reach in your bag to kind of get your lining good and flat in there. And I actually folded it down, made sure I could feel that everything was good and flat, which I'm feeling something that's a little funky up here. Okay. And this piece is going to go here on the edge, and that's how we're going to clip it. So a couple of hints on how to do this. This is just from doing bags like this in the past that have these kind of connectors. As you fold this down, you want to make sure that your zipper is in the center of this little triangle. If it is off, it's going to look funny, okay? Another thing you want to do is once you have it in the center and you have this piece folded like you want it, you're going to run a stitch. You're just going to put this under and just baste across right here, just to hold it all in place. It is going to be a life-changing experience for you. Trust me. I've tried to do these kind of corners before. Not doing that, it didn't work out too good. So just go ahead and baste across right here. So I'm going to do that right now. And y'all know how to baste. I'm not going to worry about you seeing this. Let me just go ahead and baste it real quick. Okay. So now I have it basted. Okay, you see that? Just right across. The next thing is you want to go ahead and trim this flat. See how the zipper's kind of pointed right here? This piece is flat right here, right? It's long, and when you fold this over, you have a 1-inch straight line right there. If this is pointed and you try to put this on, it'll work, but you're gonna have some voids in here. So what I'm going to do is just take my scissors, and I'm not gonna trim off all the way to my basting line. I'm just going to kind of make this a good straight line right here. So clip it about like that. Okay. Now I'm going to burn my edges. Look at this new lighter I got. Isn't it cute? And I'm just mostly doing that for the zipper because I don't want the zipper to fray. One little piece right here or something. Let me get that off. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and peel our double-sided tape off. Not our tape, but the backing of our tape. And we're going to just sandwich this between. So we want to take this edge and kind of put it right up against our base of our clip, our swivel clip, and then lay the back on, and then lay the front on. Just like that. So I want to make sure that they're even. One little thread, I got a clip. Okay, so now I'm going to move the camera to the other side because I'm going to show you how to stitch this on. It's a little bit different. Okay, so you're going to need a scrap piece of faux leather or fabric or something. You're going to need to stand the bag up, obviously. And what we're going to do is stitch across where our strap connector is, or where our clip is first. We're going to sew down, we're going to go sew this way, and then we're going to sew back up. But when I put my needle in here, excuse my arm for a second, get it in here. See, the back of my presser foot is up. So first thing I'm going to use this for is I'm just going to create myself a little hump jumper. I'm just going to fold it a couple times and just stick it back here behind my presser foot. Okay. Now we're going to go forward. Let's see. Hold on, I'm going to clip this out of the way so it's not hitting me in the face. Okay, so we're going to go forward. I'm going to excuse my arm again. I'm sorry. I need to... Okay. Then we're going to turn the bag. You want to take your piece of faux leather again, stick it underneath to protect your hardware, and we're going to sew down the side. Okay, so now we're going to turn the bag back this way, and we're going to back stitch over this section here to the other side, because we can't stick the bag underneath our arm, right? We can't stick the bag underneath here. That's not going to help work. It doesn't matter what universe we live in. That will not work. I'm going to clip my threads here because we are going to stitch back over this section and back stitch. So there will be no tying off of threads in this one. Okay, so now we're just going to go backwards. Make sure I'm where I want to be, and then I'm just going to turn and then come up and meet my original stitch. I think I can go back one more. Here, I'm going to hand reel this, and I'm just going to move it back. Okay, so now we're going to turn this, and we're going to come up and meet our original stitch. Our original hole here. I got to move my light so I can see. Make sure I'm in my original hole. Looks like I am. So I'm just going to turn. No, I got a little bit left to go. Okay, so now I'm going to turn this again. We're going to stitch across, and then I'm just going to do a little back stitch to end it. So we're stitching right over our original line. Okay. So there we have it. So this will just clip on, and I'm going to go ahead and put a rivet in here to finish it off. Okay, here it is. So we have two sides done. I put my rivet in. Isn't it coming out cute? Love it. Okay, so our next step, we're going to be working on these straps right here that are just kind of hanging. We're going to go ahead and get those taken care of. We're going to set the bag aside for just a second, and we're going to look at these connectors we're going to do. So you have 4 pieces here that you cut. And of course, the measurements for these pieces are in the pattern. And what's going to happen is we're going to sew, and the reason why I'm telling you this ahead of time is because I'm changing this a little bit from my bag. Let me put you in. Because I'm using a faux leather, but it's kind of thin. And I'm afraid this is the where our strap is going to hang from, and I'm afraid that over time this material is not going to stand up to the weight of the bag. Okay, so what I did is I had originally cut my 4 pieces, and then I got to thinking about it and thought, I'm just not 100% comfortable with the stability of this fabric. So I'm going to change it a little bit for me. Before I change it for me, I just wanted to explain to you that the straps, what I'm getting ready to do, you're not going to do your straps. You should have straps just like this. You should have 4 of them. What I did was I did the same length. Sorry, my double-sided tape, I swear. Sometimes it sticks great and other times it just does not stick, which the humidity is really high where I live, and it may be that's part of it. But Anyway, so what I did is I cut 4 pieces, but instead of cutting them 1 inch wide, I cut them 2 inches wide. I put a piece of Decoville Light on the back. So I'm still in the pattern, we have to fold these ends in 1 inch. So I'm still gonna do that. The only thing I'm gonna do different is I added this Decoville Light, and I'm going to turn my edges in so that I have what we typically would think of as like a strap. My edges are turned into the center. Okay? So now from here, essentially, we have exactly the same strap piece. It's just that mine is reinforced with some Decoville Light and also some additional, like another layer of the faux leather. Make sense? So I'm going to continue with my pieces. However, your pieces, again, are going to look like this. Okay. So all I did, if you want to do this method, if you're using a lighter weight faux leather, this is probably going to be a good idea. This is what you're going to want to do. So I'm just going to fold this in. And then from here, we're going to follow exactly what the pattern says. So, hold on, let me get this in. Okay, we're going to mark 1 inch from our short edges, and we're going to fold this over. Now, I cut my Decoville Light so it ended 1 inch from the edge, so I can kind of feel where that is. So I'm just going to fold that over and clip it, and fold this side over and clip it. I'm going to do the same thing for these pieces. I'm going to make sure everything's going to be the same size though. Make sure my edges are meeting. Okay, fold this down, put a clip, fold this down and put a clip. Now on your strap, you're going to, again, want to put the 1 inch line. You can fold it down and you can put some double-sided tape to hold that in place. And you're going to do that on both sides of your strap. Okay, once you have all of your edges folded in, you're going to put a piece of double-sided tape down the center. Do not put it over the edges, okay? Your edges still need to be free. They can be double-sided tape down, but don't put this double-sided tape over that edge. We're going to take this off, and we're going to take 2 of these, and we're going to line them up. So we're going to make sure our edges are lined up at the top, that everything is lined up all the way down. Now, you would think I'd learned my lesson, but I'm using ultra leather, which of course doesn't like double-sided tape very much. So I'm going to put a few clips in here. So we are going to stitch these together. We're going to, on the inside of our fold now, okay, we're going to stitch across, we're going to go down, we're going to go across, and we're going to come back up. So we're going to just stitch a great big rectangle, but we're not doing it to the end of the strap. We're just doing it to an inch down, okay, which should not catch the end of your strap, or the end of your, yeah, the end of your strap that's folded in. Gosh, I hope that makes sense. Okay. So, let's go ahead and sew this. And take these off. All right, I'm going to unfold these momentarily so that I don't have a problem with it tearing up my vinyl when I stitch this, because otherwise this would be taller than this. Might be a problem. Okay, so this is what we have. These are going to be folded in. That. This side's going to be folded in. There goes that clip. That just broke right there. Flying. Try another one. Oh my gosh. It's not that thick. I don't know why these clips are breaking. Okay, so this is what you're gonna have. We're going to put, if you have a rectangle ring, you're gonna put a rectangle ring on. I don't have a rectangle ring, so I'm just gonna use a 1-inch D ring and we're gonna slide that on here. And it's gonna be tight, but that's okay. We want it to be tight. Okay, so this is what we have. All right, so do your other one exactly the same way. Okay, I have both my straps done with my D-rings on. So before I attach these to the bag, we're going to attach them with rivets. I want to make sure I mark where my rivets are going to go, and I'm probably even going to go ahead and punch the holes now, so that way it'll be a little easier to get it on the bag, I think. I have a rivet hole template thingy-majiggy from Tops and Bobbins that is awesome. So if you don't have one of these and you would like, if you work with rivets a lot, this is very valuable. I use it a lot. So on this 1-inch end here that we folded back, we're actually going to put 4 dots for 4 rivets. This template actually has a spot. You've got 4 different strap size, or 2 different strap sizes. You've got a 1-inch strap and you've got a 1.5-inch strap. This is for a single rivet in a 1-inch strap. This is for a double rivet in a 1-inch strap. Then you have a single rivet in a 1.5-inch strap and a double rivet in a 1.5-inch strap. So I'm going to use the double rivet in a 1-inch strap. And I'm going to go ahead and match that up on this here and make little marks with my pen. So I know exactly where my holes are going to go. And I'm not trying to do this while it's on the bag. So I'm just going to line this up. Let's put little dots. You can't see with my hand there, sorry. See those 4 dots? See how nice and evenly they're spaced? So I'm going to do that on the other side as well. There you go, see it right there. I'm going to straighten these out and I'm going to go ahead and punch those holes now. And I'm just going to punch through both. Just make sure they're lined up nice and straight. What I'm going to do is just go ahead and put a rivet in here. To hold everything good and straight while I do the other 4. Or 3, rather. My marks have already come off. Okay. So I have my 4 holes punched on both sides. And then I have them on this side too, which are harder to see there. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so let's try this again. So we're going to take the bag and we're going to fold these in. And we're going to attach them. Just like this. If you have to burn to make sure you don't have any fuzzies here, do that. So essentially this is what we're going to do, is this will be folded in, this will be folded in, and then it's just this strap's going to get sandwiched right in between. Just like that. Double-sided tape would be a huge help here if it would stick on ultra leather. But it doesn't, so. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and punch one hole, put a rivet in to hold it, and then I'll do my others. And what I'm basically doing right now is just punching through the strap. Okay, let's see if this will fit. That's not going to be long enough. Let's try a different one. Did not go through the strap. Let me. There we go. This rivet might not be long enough either. Okay, so this is a 10mm rivet I'm having to use. But remember too that my ultra leather's doubled. Yours won't be. Okay. So we're going to do the same thing with the other side. Make sure your D-ring's facing up, or your rectangle ring is facing up. Because essentially this is what our strap's going to connect to. Okay, so we're going to do that whole thing again. Then I'm going to go set these rivets. I'm going to do the same thing for my other strap, and then we'll go to the next step. Okay, here are the two straps connected. So from here, we're going to set the bag aside for just a minute. And we're going to move to our dividers, our internal dividers. These are removable dividers. So take your divider pieces, which are rectangles here, and you want to fold them in half, and you're going to stitch down each edge with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So you're going to stitch down these 2 short edges with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now, because this machine does not like thinner fabrics, and 2 layers of waterproof canvas is not enough for this machine, I'm going to move over to my domestic machine, and I'm just going to go do these 2, or actually it's going to be 4 lines real quick, and then we'll come back and move on. Okay, I have both of these stitched, and we're going to turn them. So you can either clip your corners and turn them, or you can use my method, which is just to fold this right on the stitching line, stick your hand in, hold that fold down, and it'll just turn and pop right out. I might have to do just a little bit of poking, but not much. So again, you fold it right on this edge, put your hand in, hold that down, and then just flip it, and that corner will poke right out. So see, you have a nice, neat edge, no clipping. So we're going to measure 1 inch from one of these short sides. I'm just going to get this poked out good, this whole line here. And finger press it, and we want to sew 1 inch up. Now before we do that, we're going to, here, let me put a couple clips on here. We need to fold this top edge down. It'll actually end up being the bottom edge down. Okay, so fold this edge down a 1/2 inch. And clip it in place. We're not going to sew it yet, just clip it. Now if you're using cotton, you can certainly go press this. I could put a little steam on it since it's waterproof canvas, but I'm just going to kind of finger press it. It will do the trick. Okay, so from one edge, doesn't matter which edge. Go ahead and measure 1 inch from the edge and make a line. And we're going to sew along this edge. So 1 inch. So make sure your top seam's still folded over here. And we're just going to go ahead and stitch down from top to bottom. Okay, from here, go ahead and take your clips off. You can actually leave these on, but take your top clips off. And you should have cut 4 pieces of either Peltex or Decaville Heavy. So they're not perfect squares, so make sure you have them aligned correctly. And let's use some double-sided tape, and we're going to just tape these together. And just to kind of hold them in place. We do not need to be precise with it. Oops, just came right off. Try that again. So I put this on the glue side. Let me put it on the other side. Okay, try this again. Okay, this just does not want to stick. Holy cow. There we go. All right, progress. So we're going to put these together. And just make sure that when you put them together, again, you put them together the right way and all your edges are lined up. I'm off just a tad down here. I'm just going to cut, make sure they're even. Okay. So you want to take this, and it is taller than it is wider. So you see, this goes all the way up to the very, very top, this way. This way, you have a little room. This is the way you want to put it in. Your longer edge is your top and your bottom. So we're just going to stick this in. We're going to push it all the way against this seam we just stitched. Make sure it's in there good and tight. All the way in the edges and everything. Okay. Clip this back down. Okay, so now you can feel where this is. I'm going to make sure it's down there really good. All the way to the other edge. And you can feel right here where this edge is. I'm going to draw a line just to put my ruler right up against it. You want to stitch next to it. You do not want to stitch on top of the Decaville or Peltex. You want to stitch right next to it. Okay, so we're going to stitch up, and then we're going to go ahead and close this bottom edge. kind of got pushed in a little too much. Try to pull it out a little bit. Okay, so now you should be able to feel you've got the Peltex or Decaville in the middle, and your sides are just 2 layers of the waterproof canvas or whatever your interior is. So now we need to take our hook side of our 4 pieces of Velcro. The other side is already inside the bag along the interior pockets. So we're going to put some double-sided tape on the back of these to hold them in place. And actually, I think it's going to be easier for me to just put double-sided tape down here. And then stick this on here. You're putting it right against your stitching. Then flip it over and put the other piece of hook on this side. They're not going on the same side, they're going on opposite sides. Okay, I know it's red on red, but you got one here. There's nothing on this side, but when you flip it over, you got it on this side and nothing on this side. Okay, so they're opposites. So we're going to stitch these on. Okay, so we have one divider done. So you want to go ahead and do exactly the same thing for the other divider. Okay, here the divider's done. So we're going to set those aside for just a minute. And we are in the home stretch. So we're going to take our strap. This is our 1.5 inch piece of webbing. we're going to go ahead and just do an adjustable strap. So we're just going to feed this through the slide adjuster. We're going to go ahead and stitch this on. Get the other end of your strap. Feed your clip through, your swivel clip. You're going to take this end of your strap now, feed it back through your adjuster. Okay, so this is what we have. And then we're going to feed this clip through and sew it down. And just like that, your adjustable strap is done. So there is an optional handle wrap that we're going to do. So you need your 2 pieces of fabric that Gail tells you to cut out. You're going to put them, I have one of the face fabric, one of the lining. You can do it both lining, both face fabric, whatever you want. You're going to put them right sides together and you're going to stitch around 3 sides at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm going to do that on my domestic and I'll be right back. Okay, so here it is all stitched, 3 sides. So to turn this, since we have a seam at the bottom, we're going to fold this in. We're going to fold this in. So we're folding the bottom on the stitch line and the side on the stitch line. We're going to hold that down and we're going to turn it. So I'm just holding that seam down and we're just going to turn it. My gosh. Poke these out. See, look at that. Nice corner. Just gonna do it one more time. Fold, fold. Okay. So even though this is waterproof canvas and it doesn't really hold a seam, I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of give it a light press just to kind of hold everything down. Kind of help all these seams lay a little flatter. So I'm going to do that and I will be back. Okay, I have my piece all pressed and ready to go. Have my edges folded in, and I'm going to top stitch all the way around, close this top up, but the other edges as well at a 1/8 inch seam allowance. Okay, so now we want to take pieces of Velcro, both the hook and the loop side. We're going to stitch one on one side and we're going to stitch the other on the other side like this. Okay, so I'm going to cut this down to size first. Put some double-sided tape on there to hold it. Now you notice that you've got a longer edge and a shorter edge. You're going to put it along the longer edge. So I'm put one here, and then I'm going to flip it over and put it on the opposite side. Okay, so now when you fold your handle up like this and like this, it'll Velcro together. So we're going to top stitch these down. Okay, so we have Velcro up here, and then on this one we have Velcro on this side. So let's put the bag together. So put my divider pieces up here. We want to sew this onto one of the handles, okay? So actually, let's go ahead and find our center first. You're folding it the long way. Actually, I'm going to do it this way and then just kind of put a line down the center. We want to go ahead and stitch it to one of our handles. So it probably doesn't really matter which one you stitch it to, but you want to line up your center line with the handle. Now you want to obviously have it in the middle of the handle. So let me just put a little pin here so I know where the middle is. okay? And the middle of the divider this way, it's right there. So I'm going to line up those middles and line this up on the handle just like this. And actually, what I should do is put some double-sided tape on there. So hold just a second, let me get some double-sided tape. Let me put it right on this center line. That'll make this a little bit easier. Okay. Double-sided tape. And I can still see my crease here where my center is. So I'm going to still have my pin here. So I'm going to line the centers up and line this up with the strap. Okay, just like that. So now I'm going to go ahead and stitch this on. Now, in the pattern, Gail says to stitch it on your existing line, because remember, this is the strap we folded in half and stitched. If you're going to put double-sided tape on there like I just did, if you do that, your double-sided tape is going to be showing or in the way. I mean, I guess you could remove it. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of stitch a box here so that this handle wrap is stitched on here fairly well in a box shaped manner. All right, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, here we go. Turn it this way. Hopefully you can see what I did there. Okay, we are done, y'all. We just need to put it together. Okay, let me lift you, move you. Let's see if we can get this thing together. Okay, so we're going to open it up. Let's unhook our sides. And we're going to go ahead and put our dividers in. So the dividers, of course, you have your Velcro in here. Let's see if I can move this light so you can kind of see. Okay, hopefully that's better. It's blinding me, but I think you can see. So we're just going to take the divider, make sure your seam's on the bottom. We're going to put one end against this Velcro piece like this. And then we're just going to turn it and put the other piece against this Velcro like this. Okay, so we do the same thing over here. Put this Velcro piece in. And then we're just going to turn this and put this one in. Okay, how cool is that? So we're going to zip it up, clip it, strap our handle on here, put our handle wrap on here. Which you can't see. There we go. Handle wrap. Let's get our strap on. Isn't it awesome? So, don't be intimidated. You can do this. It takes some time, yes. I mean, you've seen, we took 4 videos to do it, but I hope it broke it down for you enough that you were able to break it into smaller segments to get it done. Just take it slowly and y'all can do this. I swear you can. Now, Gail has a couple of variations of this. I think there's one called a Big Mama bag, and I haven't looked at the modifications yet, but I think you leave out the dividers and maybe you don't clip the sides down, and it's just like a great big huge bag. That is free on her Facebook group, so go to the American Stitchers Facebook group and you can get that modification so that you can make this more than one kind of bag with this. And that's the great thing about patterns like this, is that you can modify them to fit your needs. So, Jane's range bag, or camera bag, or Big Mama bag. If you want to make it just a great big huge bag, it could be a great beach bag. I mean, y'all, this is awesome. So, I hope that this tutorial helped you. Please subscribe if you haven't done that yet. I would really appreciate it. Comments, leave them below. I try to answer every single one of them. And until next time, happy sewing.